Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Ryan with Rigs of Death Metal. Today my guest is Josh of Suffering Hour. What's up, Josh?
Not much, man. How you doing?
Not bad. It's pretty cold where we're at, but
Yeah, yeah. I'm in Minnesota. I think it's 3 degrees right now. It's lovely.
oh nice. I think we got like 4 to 6 inches of snow over the last couple days, something like that. But
Where are you based?
West Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we
You
we
get
kind of
that
get
much snow
the
out there.
yeah, we get the best of everything. When it's hot, it's sweltering and swampy, and then we get harsh winters, lots of snow too. It's great.
There's a restaurant in West Virginia I really like, and I'm forgetting what it's called. It's like a weird sports bar off the highway. I want to say it's called like Terry's or something
Huh.
like that. If that rings a bell. It's like this weird, like untouched since the 80s, like sports restaurant bar thing that's like right off the highway. I forget what highway. I'm not good with numbers. But
Hang on.
if you ever see a weird ass building that says Terry's on it, I hope to God it's called Terry's. Otherwise, I'm going to look like an idiot. But go in there and eat food.
I have to find it now. Terry's Cafe in Whitsville. Okay, or Whitesville, however you say it. Okay, I'm
This
not
looks like weird as hell in there. It should be
uh
like huge and weird looking. You know what? If I'm wrong, I'll just send it to you after this,
yeah, okay.
and maybe we should start over because this has been a weird
Nah, we're good.
interview that has nothing to do about a random restaurant in West Virginia.
Oh yeah, this is all gonna turn into like a Discovery Channel like food show or something.
Oh yeah,
Well,
can you tell I have ADHD?
it's all good. Hey, I'm pretty sure half of our interviews kind of go like that. I remember
Oh yeah.
we had uh we had one that went on for like 3.5 hours, and there was a lot of alien talk and stuff in there, and it was John from Outer Heaven. That's who.
Oh, John. Okay, yeah. I'm really good friends with Zach from Outer Heaven. We go way back.
Zach's awesome as hell too. I've
Oh, he's the sweetest boy. I love that dude to death.
yeah. Well, dude, for the people that aren't in here for food reviews, we'll we'll jump into like we'll jump into what you're
Fair.
playing live with right now.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Sure. So for starters, I've seen you with a few different instruments. What's your current go-to?
So I'm glad you asked because I have it right here. So this has been my go-to for the past few months. So this is a guitar I had built by a company out of Virginia called Wars and Mont. It's just this one. It's just a one-man operation. I think they're based out of North Carolina now. I think he just moved, but
Okay.
I'll try and get some good angles and stuff here. It's me and him basically designed this from the ground up, and yeah, it's the best guitar I've ever owned. It's gorgeous. Like, look at oh no, don't hit my water ball. Look at the woodwork on the headstock and shit. It's just
Oh wow.
great. Like that's all laminate. That's like all ebony laminate.
No
Thing's
shit.
gorgeous. Yeah,
Huh.
it's a pith fleck maple board, which is like a weird, like rare form of maple. It looks like it's almost been infested by worms, but it's just a weird growth defect. It's just like the way the grain grows. It grows thick and chunky for some reason.
Hmm.
And then yeah, I wonder if it's too shiny. Tamo
No.
ash, figured Tamo ash pick guard, Tamo ash top on the body. This is Spanish cedar. The body's Spanish
Hmm.
cedar. These are Lawler. These are like their Jazz Masters and P90 enclosures.
Yeah.
And I have this, it has this 5-way switch. So when it's here, it runs as a humbucker, which it sounds surprisingly good as a humbucker. And then I think this one is just this pickup. And then third position is them in parallel. Sounds really good for like clean tone and stuff. I'm tapping the bridge. I gotta go up here. Really good. And then this one is just the bridge, and then this one is them running in series but out of phase, and it literally just sounds like a quacking duck. It just sounds like a screaming angry
Yeah.
duck.
Oh my
And I'm
God.
really glad that my guitar has a meme setting on it. And yeah, it has a bunch of other silly fun features too, like the truss rod covers magnetic, just
I
pop
love
right
that.
off, slips right back on in theory.
And
There we go.
yeah.
Yeah, back cover also magnetic. It doesn't have strap buttons. It just has holes for
hmm
strap locks.
Nice.
So like there aren't even buttons in the way. Cool like barrel headed hip shot tuners.
Love that.
But yeah, me and him spent probably a year and a half from like the original just thought of let's do this to it being done. Yeah, I can't recommend him enough. It's like this most solid built guitar I've ever played, and I've played a lot of guitars in my day. And he's also just the coolest guy ever. Him and his wife are like the coolest people ever. And if anyone wants to have a custom guitar built and they also want it to be a fun experience front to back, you should absolutely work with him. Yeah, it's WORZENMACHT, Words and Mocked Instruments.
That is so sick. I've seen only one or two of his other builds, both owned by the same guy. And they were kind of sort of like Ironbird kind of takes.
Yeah,
Gorgeous guitars. I can't get over the really sick P90 kind of setup you have going on, especially
yeah.
like being able to stack them when they're stacked and working like a humbucker. What's that sound kind of comparable to? Just I'm just curious.
Um, it's pretty. I'm trying to think of what to compare it to. I can't remember what Duncan it sounds like. It actually sounds like a Duncan humbucker. It just has less, just because of the fact that the coils are so far apart since
hmm
they're P90s. It has a little less low end, but I mean, all you have to do is just put a tube screamer in front of it, put the tone at like 7 or 8,
Okay.
golden.
Nice.
So it sounds really nice. Like it doesn't sound. I guess it's just kind of like overwound PAF ish. It's
Yeah.
like it doesn't come off like a high gain humbucker, but it is high gain.
Is it still
Yeah, I don't
kind
know.
of does it still stay kind of chimey even as a humbucker?
The chime kind of leaves, but
Yeah.
I'm okay with that because
Yeah, that's
it's cool because I have two
sure.
P90s in there
Yeah.
and I can get chimey tones at those. So it's kind of cool that I can get a not chimey tone out of that guitar compared to the rest of them pretty much.
Gotcha. That's so sick. I've always I don't have any P90 guitars though I want one. Um Especially like if it was a P90 hollow body or something. But
Yeah.
I've been fascinated with them, especially for like heavier music because I used to play in a thrash band and the other guitarist had an LTD Viper with P90s in it and just
Hmm.
played through a dual rectifier, just noise gate, nothing else. That was his rig.
Yeah.
Um and then I don't know, he's just always had like the much warmer but still pretty heavy tone. Kind of like Zayo kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
Uh
There's something about single coils and especially like styles of music that are like like black metal that's really chordy or like thrash where you want a lot of pick definition.
yeah.
Like really tight riff picking. Like whenever I'm playing thrashy anything, it's usually on my Strat because it sounds better than it does on anything else I own. Just because when you're doing all the tight picking stuff, it just sounds so like
Sure.
airtight, awesome.
No, I get it. I got a Strat and a Telly as well, and I love playing those for that kind of stuff. Um, and had like that, I don't know, always dial in some kind of real snarly sort of mid-range kind of sound to it. It's great.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Almost something reminiscent of like some like JCM or like Mark IV kind of tones, just that real
yeah.
um well that is so sick. I know I've seen videos of you with your Strat and stuff. Is that bone stock or what do you have in that?
That's stock. It's a really weird Strat. So it's a Korean-made Fender branded Strat
Okay.
from either the late 80s or early 90s. I haven't looked into the serial number enough to check for sure. I know I think it was maybe between like 88 and 94.
Hmm.
Yeah, I got it really cheap because the dude who sold it thought it was like a copy, like a what do you
Yeah.
call it, Frankenstrat, whatever. Like someone just built it because the that era of Fenders from the Korean factory, it doesn't say like Stratocaster or anything on the headstock. It really just says Fender, so
Okay.
it looks fake.
Yeah.
And I kind of bought it thinking it was fake, but I liked how it played and I liked how it looked. So yeah, it's just a maple board, red Strat. Not much to report. I just love Mark Knopfler, so had to do it.
That rules. Hell yeah. I I don't know. I just through doing like the gear page and everything, I see so many, I guess kind of say standard. I won't not, standard kind of rigs. Um, that anytime I see something really off the beaten path, I'm just like, ooh, what's that?
Yeah,
Like,
oh, I'm the same way.
amp wise, what are you using right now?
Right now I have a bunch of heads. My ride or die though is I have an SLO 100, a Solvano. That's like
Mm.
my yeah, I never turning back. It's the best sounding head in the world. But I have a lot of other heads that I love too. I have a JCM. I have a dual recto. I have a I have a Soft Tech MiG 100. They're like Marshall clone from I think the 90s.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I have a Fender Twin. That probably gets more use than anything I own.
Oh, really? Just
Oh
like
yeah, yeah. Like I can almost promise that the next Suffering Hour record is going to be recorded on that Twin.
when you're using the twin, are you using it like kind of like a pedal platform, or do you just drive the hell out of it and boost it, or
Both.
fair
I
enough?
just got the hell out of it and ram a bunch of pedals in the front.
Love it.
Gotta
Uh,
do it.
huh? Oh,
Oh, just said gotta do it. Had to do it to him.
I feel you. I feel like Fender is sort of an unsung hero with heavier music. Um, I know a lot of people, what is that one? The Supersonic. A lot of guys
Oh
I've talked
yeah.
to love the Supersonic with just a solid overdrive. And can get pretty convincing like boosted dual rec tones out of it.
Yeah, the Supersonics are really cool amps. I've wanted a what is it called, a DeVille for a long time,
Hmm.
or just any sort of like single speaker tweed. There's just something about those low wattage. I think yeah, like the low wattage single speaker Fenders that like the only way to get them to sound pissed is to crank them as loud as you can, and it just sounds so angry.
Oh yeah.
It just sounds like a swarm of bees. It's like, what's better than that?
I for a while I had the bass breaker. I had the 212
Oh,
bass breaker combo. And I don't know. I was on a big neurosis kick and I wanted to basically have like a Steve Von Till kind of thing going on where I had the my dual rec full stack and then I wanted to have like an ABY switch and switch to like a 212 combo for clean stuff and run
okay,
like
yeah,
my time based and cool, cl all the fun clean stuff through that.
yeah,
And it was the 1830 combo. Um, so even on the 30-watt mode, it would still get a little bit of breakup, and I don't know. I ended up going a different way, but it was pretty sick. And on the
mm,
18-watt mode with like a tube screamer or something, I could get like full blown like Slayer thrash kind of tones going, but it was so freaking loud.
yeah. I've played through bass breakers before. I really like one. They're so cool. They just is it the whole concept behind those? Like, what if Eric Clapton approached Fender instead of Marshall for a higher gain amp, and they basically just took their circuit and were like, if we took this OG circuit and wanted to make it for high gain, how would
Yeah.
we do it? I thought that was the concept behind those amps.
Yeah, and it's funny. There's a couple different designs under the bass breaker name, like different
Mm-hmm.
wattages and stuff.
Yeah, and I know like different cat like combos have completely different controls sometimes too.
Yeah,
Like depending on what your wattage is, you're getting a different amp basically.
exactly. And yeah, it was I mean, that's pretty much it though. Like trying to meet a bassman and a blues breaker, like just trying to marry the two ideas, um, which is pretty much on like nail on the head with what you were describing. I've for a long time wanted to try to get just the head version of the bass breaker and try to actually like run it through my stack and see what that's all about. Um, I've also tried. I can't remember the wattage. It was one of the smaller combos. Maybe it was the 007, like the little 7 watt 112 combo. That thing was really sick. It had if my if my if my combo had this feature, I probably would have kept it. But it had like a three tiered knob or whatever on it for just different gain stages.
Oh, yep. I've played that one before. I think that one was my favorite out of the ones I've played.
Yeah.
Like the game stage selector, it's really cool.
Yeah, I tried that one in a store and I fell in love with it. And I'm like, even the highest gain thing, it was great. I could do lots of lead stuff on it, or I could do super chimey, awesome, pristine cleans. I'm like, why didn't they do this on all of them?
Yeah. When I played the one you're describing, I like basically blacked out in that store. And then there came a point where the guy was just like, "So you're gonna buy it, right?" And I was like, "What? Oh no, no, I'm broke. I'm not buying anything."
Oh,
I think I
the
just grabbed like a pack of strings and left. I felt so bad.
I'm pretty sure every guitar player's been there.
Oh yeah,
Bugging the Guitar Center guy to come, unlock a $3,000 to $4,000 guitar off the wall just so you can try it out and maybe buy a pack of strings and some guitar picks out of guilt.
yeah. I work music retail over the phone, but still, it's yeah. I feel their pain. It's rough.
Um, so one thing that really stood out to me, other than some of your particular like, guitar choices and things like that, Suffering Hour, very interesting use of effects and textures. Um, what what's your board look like? Because I haven't really I've seen a couple pictures on your Instagram, but like
They're all filthy. I'm assuming.
what is it?
Since the pictures were filthy, I'm assuming my boards look like pipe bombs. It's not good.
Hey, that's the difference between a bedroom guitar player versus a gigging musician is how tidy the pedal board looks.
Yeah, I'm just a bedroom musician that goes outside. That's it for me. But yeah, I don't have my pedal board built right now, but this camera is actually sitting on top of the massive toolbox where I keep all of my pedals. So I can just let me know if this is too loud. Is that loud?
I barely hear
Hey, we can start digging through toys.
it.
My the front guy and drummer are gonna watch this and be like, why did this interviewer guy just enable him to talk about his pedals for this long? This is not good.
Hey, no, it's perfectly fine. Um,
Let's see, you're talking about textural stuff. Let me kind of
yeah.
find some of the stuff that fits that category. Um, so for pretty much everything that's recorded, I think after Dwell, the first album in Dwell, the first album actually I think has zero pedals on it. I think that's literally just like a tuner, a noise gate, and amp gain. And then Dwell had some, but Sick like had I think I forget. I used like 30 or 40 something pedals in three different rigs completely for that album. But the big thing on the most recent stuff we've recorded is this guy. So this
Okay.
is the Digitech Lux. They call it like on their website, they call it like an anti-chorus. And it's just a really nice kind of mellow pitch modulator.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just there are a lot of courses that kind of like make your tone like
Yeah.
sounds like you're underwater. This gives you like everything that a chorus would without really messing with your tone too much. So it just adds a nice sense of like movement. Yeah,
Okay.
I've this has been on my board a lot lately. Last few shows we played, I haven't been using that. I've been using this 80s Boss flanger
Nice.
because, as I've learned, flangers make for great chorus pedals, and you can really dial in like how subtle you want it to be. I found I can get like better chorus sounds out of this thing than like most choruses I've owned. So yeah, and you can find these for pretty cheap. I think I got this for like $80 at like a local store, and it's from the '80s, and it's
Yeah.
gross and burnt to shit and looks awesome, and it sounds amazing. So yeah, that's a big one I use. Those two are probably my most used modulation pedals. Um, most of my, I know people are probably hoping for a maybe a more interesting answer than this, but pretty much all my reverb and delay just comes from these.
Okay, sick.
Yeah, Electro Harmonics, Oceans 11, and Canyon. They're just little four knob, really dirty that should be cleaned four knob pedals. Yeah, they just have a bunch of different types of reverb and delay in them, and they sound good. They're just little digital boys, and yeah, they have tails or trails or whatever you want to call them. So that's where most of my reverb and delay comes from. Let me see here. Let me think.
I think I looked at both of those too whenever I was last reverb shopping, and I think I ended up settling on the Digitech Polera, but I've seen a lot of good
Polaris
things.
stick pedal. Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
I don't really have like an allegiance to a pedal brand. A lot
Sure.
of it is just like what can I afford at this point in time and what looks like it's going to be able to do what I need it to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, Electro Harmonics has pulled through for that a lot. I have a lot of Electro Harmonics pedals, but I mean, they're also cheap. So yeah, I mean, like here's another one that I use constantly, Freeze.
Nice.
So it's like, yeah, I just set it to whenever I'm holding it down, it just sustains whatever note. I use it. I use it on recordings. So yeah, I did. I used it on Cyclic Reckoning and our split with Malfusion, but I mostly use it live. So I split my signal into 2 amps live, and then I'll put this on like maximum to
Hmm.
only one of the amps. So then live, it sounds like I'll like hit a power chord or whatever, and it sounds like one of the guitars is holding the chord and the other guitar is playing something else.
Sure.
It's worked really well for live stuff. Yeah, this is my splitter too. This is like as far as like my live tone goes, this is probably like the pedal I owe the most debt to is the TC Electronic Mimic.
Hell
So
yeah.
it's like a guitar duplicator. It has a really nice algorithm. I've heard other duplicator pedals or pedals that like just kind of put like 30 milliseconds of delay or whatever on your signal,
Hmm.
and they sound good. But there's something about this one that sounds great. And yeah, I seriously just when I play live, I set it to sound like four guitars at once, and I crank every knob. And I run it stereo because when you run it stereo, it'll send your dry signal and one fake guitar to one amp, and then two fake ones to the other.
Okay.
So especially on a stage, like being a one guitar band, it just fills the room.
Hmm.
There's some guy in Germany who was yelling at me because he was trying to force me to admit that we had overdubs playing through the PA. And I was like, you have no idea how much you're complimenting my guitar tone right now. You think you're being mean? This is the nicest anyone's ever been to me.
Dude, who was it? I think it was like Wes Halk or somebody who talking about because he uses like the stereo doubler or whatever in the
Mm-hmm.
Kemper live, and he's gotten the same thing. People think it's that they're running backing tracks or something. Um,
Yeah,
some of those can be really, really convincing. It's come a long way since the MXR flanger doubler.
yeah, yeah. That thinks something. Part of what I like about the Mimic, though, is that sometimes it's not convincing. Sometimes, but I like it because it's like it almost just sounds like I don't know how to describe it, but there's just sometimes the ways when it doesn't sound convincing, it just sounds really cool. It just sounds modulated and kind of weird. And yeah, like I don't know. I mean, I would probably like turn some of the settings down if I were to use it for a different project. But like for Suffering Hour, especially live, like the music's so guitar heavy that and modulated and the guitar tone kind of
Yeah,
like that. So so having a pedal like that kind of alters the tone in that way live, I think it just helps fill the room more.
sure.
What else do I have here? This I used a lot on Cyclic, and I have an entire side project right now that basically revolves around this pedal, V9 organ machine.
Okay.
Literally all it does is it is analog, which blows my mind. It just takes your signal and just makes it sound like all these organs. It's got like a cathedral organ. It's got like a rock organ. I mean, it can all be used for rock, I guess. That's a little subjective. Electro harmonics. But yeah, it sounds weirdly convincing, and like I've used it a lot. I used it on Cyclic for spots where I just kind of wanted like almost like an octave up, but like a weird octave up. I'm trying to think of like specific parts I can reference, but I haven't listened to it in a while. But yeah, I just basically it has like you can run it a dry out or an organ out. I'll just run out of the organ out into like a bunch of messed up pedals with
Yeah.
like a octave up in the front, and then like run it back into my signal, and it just sounds fucked up. And I like it when stuff sounds fucked up. It's great.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
Trying to think if there's anything else in particular that I could mention. Oh, I haven't talked about any drive pedals. I'm being silly. This is my ride or die. Wampler Tumnus Deluxe.
Nice. I haven't
So
tried the deluxe version.
I had the Tumnus. It was fine. Like I've had clones before. Well, maybe it's because I'm cynical, but I think maybe they're a little overhyped. They sound good, but like the cult behind them is like, dude, come on, it's a pedal, dude.
Yeah.
Just you step on it and it makes your guitar sound different, just like the fucking rest of them. But what I really like about this one is that one, it has a buffer, and I need more buffered pedals. I like buffers. I don't know why I don't have more pedals that are buffered. And two, it's got free band EQ on it.
Hell yeah.
So it like as a drive, it sounds great. It sounds like the Klon or whatever. But I mostly use it for live, or I guess use it for, I'm basically going to be rebuilding my board once we're gigging again. Is I would put the gain at zero, put the level at like I don't know, what would that be like 10 o'clock, and then take the bass and mids down a bit, turn the treble up a bit, and then what you have is like a like volume reducer that adds a little sparkle, and then
Okay.
I would have like a whole chain because I had like one of those loop pedals. I can, is that it? No, just this little Saturn works.
Okay.
So you just
Huh.
run like an effects loop into it, and then you can turn it on and off. It's a
Nice.
real cool little pedal. Shot if for people who don't know Saturn Works is the shit. I have like 10 of their pedals. The thing's like $30. They hold up. They're not noisy. I'll get to them in a minute because I'll get too distracted. But yeah. So I'll run a loop with this, and then like maybe like where are you? Just like a neo clone chorus, just to add more modulation, and then like another delay. Yeah, like memory toy, nothing to write home about. But just run that, and then that'll be my clean tone.
Yeah. Okay.
and it's worked really well. I mean, I gigged that way for years, but I just got one of those big old Boss like 8-button switcher pedals, so now I can sit in my room and not see the light of day for weeks to try to figure out how that works. It took me 5 minutes to get the fucking phone on the tripod. So I wish myself nothing but the best of luck to figure out a pedal selector pedal.
Dude, I have heard that there's a bit of a learning curve to those, but once you get them all dialed in, they're so sweet.
Dude, like I don't. Most of why I got it is because I have a buddy. His name's Dan. He plays in a band out here called Lungs. Really good, like kind of sludgy post metal band. Yeah, and his pedal board looks like a fucking spaceship. And I was just like, how and why? He was like, I have this thing. He was like, the way he said is, it's the best pedal I own, and it doesn't make a sound. I'm
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. And after some convincing, I got one, and I have a pedal board on the way right now because I've literally been using like planks of wood my entire career. So I finally bought like a proper pedal board, and then once I get that, I'm gonna figure out how to use it. I feel like I'll figure it out, but if not, I have a resource, and I can just drag him to my home and force him to do it.
Right.
Yeah, he plays in a band called Lungs, and he sings in a band out here called Wander, like a kind of metallic hardcore band. Really good shit. All of his bands are great. But oh yeah, I was gonna talk about Saturn Works more. Um, this pedal's really cool. I use this. One, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that
That's
shit.
that's
It's a
crazy
damn
stuff.
dinosaur battle.
Sure. Two of my favorites.
Yeah. Name a man who wouldn't want to see a dinosaur battle.
Right?
But I used this, I guess not really related to suffering, however. I used this when I filled in for Avatar
Okay.
when their guitarist Sam, he plays an artificial brain. And whenever Avatar gets stuff booked and he's doing stuff with artificial brain, or he plays Illuminous Fault as well. They basically just hit me up and I go and fill in for them. But so this pedal, this was like a 2-digit number. I think this was like 65 or $70. So what this does is that you hit a button and it chooses between two effects loops.
Okay.
And if you run out of here, it changes the channel of your amp.
Oh, nice.
It's the coolest pedal ever because like Avatar has like a really involved clean tone. Like it's very clean and it has like when I did it, I had like delay on it, like permanently. I had like chorus, I had a compressor, and I was able to like run this, and then like I could just hit the button, and the channel on the amp I was borrowing would change, and then the only thing that would be on was Tube Screamer, and it was perfect.
That's rad. I
Yeah,
that is
I will give
extremely
Saturn Works all the press I can because they're an awesome company. I think the dude is like a professor at like university, like UC Berkeley or something.
Oh wow.
And he just makes pedals on the side. I could be wrong about that. Maybe that's how the company started. If I'm wrong about that, I'm sorry. I did my best, but yeah, I can't recommend that company enough. They're awesome.
That's sick. Incredibly useful utility pedal.
Yeah, and he makes like drives and wahs and stuff too. But yeah, most of what he pushes out is his just utilitarian pedals because they're so cheap and they're so good, and he has so many different kinds.
Hell yeah.
He's a hero to many. Oh, I should probably mention this pedal too. It's another Neo clone, but it's super broken. It's very broken. The only thing it can do is just go, and I use this pedal constantly with 3 hour actually
That
because
rules.
on the first record, like before I was really a gigging musician, I was adamant about got to have a Floyd Rose. I have to have a Floyd Rose on my guitar. I have to, yeah, like I need it. And then I did a 3 show run, and by the end, I was like, I'm never playing a Floyd Rose guitar again. because I broke a string and the show was over.
Uh,
Like, at that point, it's like, um, yeah, that little run actually, that guy Dan I was talking about earlier, his band Grogus was on that run, and they happen to play in the same tuning we do, so he lent me his like jazz master. But it was like I was running so much gain and like I didn't know enough about pedals and stuff at that point that there's a part in the song where like everything stopped and like I did this weird little tap riff and all you heard was
oh, that's awesome.
so after that I stopped using tremolos at all. Like I mean like this guy here, like it just has a hip
Yeah.
shot tail on it. But so I had to compensate. So I got the ricochet for just like dive
Nice.
bombs basically.
Yeah.
There's like one song in particular off of In Passing where it's like a dive bomb. It's like a part of the riff. Oh, there's one on Cyclic too, but I literally just used this.
Oh,
And then there were a lot of spots on In Passing where I do like I just like grab the whammy bar and strum like, and that's what I use this for because this is basically what this sounds like because it's so damaged and not working well. But it's really fun.
I say probably some of the most fun use of pedals. It it two other guitar players come to mind. One of them's not death metal at all, and some people might find this kind of cringy, but like Tom Morello, who would just
Oh
take
yeah,
he just take the most basic stuff and just come up with the funnest applications for them.
oh yeah. Tom Morello's a nutcase, dude.
Yeah. And then I don't know, Trey Azagthoth, which by extension, I guess you could also say Eddie Van Halen, just or Dimebag, just guys that use effects in just really fun ways. Not like a crutch or anything, but just really fun enhancements to otherwise really cool parts.
Yeah,
But some
I
guys,
wonder
oh, sorry.
sometimes if I use pedals as a crutch for sure. Like sometimes, like it's. I mean, I like to think I don't, but like especially when I was tracking Cyclic, I was like, okay, I'm recording the sixth guitar track on another 20 something pedal board. I was like, maybe I need to calm down a little.
Nah.
Yeah, fuck it. Who gives a
Yeah.
shit?
It's
I only have one dad, and he doesn't really care what I do. As long as I'm a safe boy, he doesn't care what I do with my riffs.
and it just kind of it reminds me of like some of the I guess more old heads or something. Like the Joe Bonamassa thing from a few years ago where the blues guy, it was like in a bunch of the guitar magazines and shit. Like he made some comment that like guitar players, it was some snarky little comment. Guitar players that use like tons of effects are lazy or something like that. And he's just, yeah, it was a stupid thing. I think everybody like as a community kind of just shit all over that.
Yeah, leave it to Joe Boner Massive, the fucking tone shame people, dude.
Right.
Dude has like, how many Dumbles and he has how many like multi-million-dollar Gibsons or whatever.
Right.
And then he's like, people use too many like $150 pedals. It's like, take your fucking
Yeah.
$250,000 Dumble combo amp and shove it sideways up your ass, dude.
Yeah. And I mean I've met other guitar players like that too. Like I remember I don't know why, there was like this two or three kind of blues and butt rock guitar player guys that I went to school with. I don't even hardly remember their names, but I remember they would like shit all over like Dimebag Daryl for one thing. This is he uses too many effects and it's like he can't play for shit. He just, just puts on a pedal. I'm
He
like,
didn't even use a ton of effects though. Like when he did, it was effective, but like he
yeah.
didn't. Yeah, he wasn't like running boards with like 20 pedals on him. He had what? Like he had like a phaser. like a pitch shifter. I'm like,
Yeah,
what else?
I think he used chorus sometimes
Oh
and
yeah,
played
yeah.
wah. Like, I mean, he used some stuff here
Yeah,
and there, but it was like you said, it was always pretty purposeful, you
yeah.
know? Um, I don't know. There's just some weird people out there. Like I don't in music I've written, I don't use a ton of like actual effects like modulations or time-based stuff. I'm pretty dry, but I still have them because they're fun. And you know, I don't know. People are
Yeah.
people get really up in arms about really dumb shit.
I think I don't know. I think that especially with stuff like the blues, where it's such a talent based genre.
Yeah.
I think it's easy for them to get defensive about like pedals and things like that because I don't know, pedals sound fucking cool and they don't really require any effort to use. Like when I turn 87 pedals on in the front of my amp, it's like I could play the dumbest shit. It sounds awesome because I
Yeah.
have like a million pedals on. And I don't know, the only like hypothesis I have is that it's just yeah, they play the blues and it's like you run fucking Les Paul into a blues junior. And if you're good at the guitar, if you're like you're good at playing blues, you're good at playing blues. And if you're not, you're not. You don't really have you have nothing to hide behind.
Yeah.
Which I mean is why I respect a lot of that music in general. But I can see why it would breed contempt in the context of pedal usage, I guess.
All right.
Except for Joe Bonamassa, he can fuck off. He can shut
Yeah.
the fuck up.
Yeah. And I know it's old news. Like it was a few years ago and I think he even realized he came off as douchey because he makes jokes on his own expense here and there. But yeah, it's I've definitely known people and met people like that. And I think that was one of the things that really stuck out to me whenever I was first checking out Suffering Hour is that it's such an antithesis to that. It's like, man, this is fun. Like it's super dark, and I don't mean like real poppy and bubbly, but as far as like ear candy for at least for me, it's ear candy. Like it's just a lot of
Oh,
fun
thanks.
textures and layers, and I really appreciate that it's not just another. There's nothing wrong with it, but another band that's just trem picking power chords or black metal melodies through a 5150 and that's it.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
There are a lot of bands that do that really well, but yeah, it's metal as a whole. I'm just kind of I've heard so many iterations of so many different styles. Like there's obviously still bands to go back to, but yeah, it's like yeah, I don't know. It's like I totally understand what you're saying. It's just it's so hard to find bands that are like doing anything actually interesting and new.
Right. With
At least in the context of metal, I mean, you could find them in weird places, but maybe you don't want
sure.
to listen to weird music all the time.
Right. I've I've actually stolen some kind of melody ideas and turned them into like riffs based off of like some synthwave kind of stuff before.
Dude,
Like,
it's a move, man.
you
It's a
know,
move.
like
Yeah, I mean, I
I'm taking like a Carpenter Brute or a Time Cop, at least just a sliver of a melody from one of their songs and kind of worked it into like a lead over top of a part, just, you know, shit like that.
yeah, I mean, most of what I listen to is like Americana and like post punk. And that's like where probably most of my melody ideas come from, and most of my layering ideas come from.
Hell yeah.
At least in the current, because yeah, I know like on the first record, I was just like listening to nothing but like Decibel Omega and like Bolzer and stuff. But yeah, like especially on Cyclic, it's like I don't think I listened to any metal there the entire time I wrote that record.
Fuck
Because I
yeah.
don't know, like if you're writing metal and you want your metal to sound like unique, why listen to other metal bands? Because then all that's going to happen is that that's just going to seep in, you know.
Yeah.
But if you listen to like anything but and you have all this outside influence, just spinning around your head. It'll seep in.
Yeah. Um, well, that will serve as a good segue to what is uh what is some of your inspiration when it comes to songwriting? Is it as a whole, like your general approach with Suffering Hour? You you mentioned you were listening to a bunch of Deathspell Omega, and then you slowly kind of progressed to more like Americana and like post-punk kind of stuff. Is that just kind of just getting into a certain headspace listening to stuff and you kind of come up with your own ideas that way, or just kind of walk us through your writing process a little bit?
I don't know. It's kind of it happens when it happens. Like people ask like why does it take however many years for a new album to release? And it's like, I mean, I write the thing in like 3 weeks. But it's like when it's there, it's there. And when it's not, which is not most of the time, it's not. I don't know. It's circumstantial. Like a lot of the times when I write a record, I have like a theme in mind, or like maybe like I'm trying to think of a word, like I guess like a challenge in mind. Like whether it's Suffering Hour or whatever, it's like, okay, I want to write something that has this feel. And but the thing is when I do that, it's like I kind of have to be in the right mood to write in that box. So then when it happens, it happens. I really don't know how else to describe it. I don't know. I just the majority of my guitar playing stemmed from the fact that I didn't feel like having to record different guitar parts
Yeah.
when I was writing because I was like, I just want to hear how it's gonna sound. So I just started mixing them together. And then I was like, oh well shit, maybe I'll just do this then. And then I don't have to make a new friend or something stupid. But I don't know. Orchestral music influences what I do a lot. I love like kind of the somber era, kind of like early 1900s, like especially like cello concertos and stuff
Hmm.
like that. I think that was when like orchestral music started to get like at the same time like particularly somber and also like particularly dark. I mean, like yeah, like Holst Marsberger Award. I was what like 1910 or something like that. It was something around that point in time. So
Yeah.
like that was when music was kind of starting to get like kind of evil,
Yeah.
at least in the context of Western music. I mean, a lot of Eastern music was evil for a lot longer span of time, but a really a big thing. I mean, this goes back to the Baroque era, but I think like that era of time was when it really peaked. Was just like how smoothly the different instruments would pass off melodies to each other.
Hmm.
Like you would almost swear sometimes that like the violin melody just dropped 3 octaves when really it's like the cello took over. It's stuff like that. And I've always liked just the flow and the feel of that. And so with a lot of the riffs I write, at least like I guess the more melodic ones, that's something that I'm thinking about a lot is like almost having the riff feel like an exchange between two different instruments.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, that definitely comes from like orchestral music. Otherwise, I don't know. Otherwise, I just get pissed and just strum really fast and make notes that are angry and just record it down.
No, I love it. Um, I've just recently kind of started trying to delve into a old MIDI keyboard here in front of me. Trying to
Mm.
actually, compose like for multiple instruments and orchestral and synthesizer kind of stuff. I love stacking stuff and big layers and walls of sound. Like I'm a big Devin Townsend fan.
Oh yeah, Devin Townsend just
Yeah.
creates walls. I'm
Yeah.
stretching my legs. Don't mind me.
Oh, you're good. But uh like that, Septic Flesh and
Yeah.
just anything that can sound very dramatic and big and
Mhm.
boisterous, and then can reel it back a little bit and make things somber. Just the size and dynamics of orchestrated or symphonic music is really appeals to me, and
Yeah,
and now that I didn't hear it at first, but now that you bring it up, I can definitely hear that with the interplay of different instruments and Suffering Hour, as well as the use of layering through different parts and then trying to reel it back. And I can hear the influence now that you've said that for sure.
yeah, and like a lot of, especially on Cyclic, a lot of it was like, how do I make guitar sound like an orchestra? I think that's part of why I ended up doing like six guitar tracks because it doesn't even sound like a guitar track anymore. It just sounds like a wall. There's
Yeah.
oh my God, as soon as I was going to bring him up, he slips my mind. Um, are you familiar with like the no core scene in New York? Do you know who Glenn Branca is?
I do not.
Okay, so there's like this chunk of time where there were like these composers in the 80s in New York, and they just started getting like into almost like noise rock. It was
Okay.
a really weird tangent, but yeah, Glenn Branca is considered like kind of like the echelon of that. But he had a contemporary, and he basically wrote like this kind of like minimalist drone, like orchestral piece. But he wrote it for I think it was like 400 guitars.
Damn.
I wish I could remember what it's called. I can send it to you after once I find it. But it sounds insane. It's literally just a wall of guitar tone. Like it's insane sounding.
Yeah.
And like they're not even doing anything super like crazy interesting. It's very drony, but it feels insane to listen to.
Hmm.
And I don't ever want to record 400 guitar tracks for something, but I'll do six. Six is okay.
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, it also kind of reminds me, you know the band Doth?
Doth?
Yeah. D
It's
A A T
DOTA.
A D A A
Oh,
T H.
DAAT. Yes, I remember them. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember like when I was probably like in high school, I think I was listening to that band.
same. They're kind of working on a bit of a comeback now, and
Oh, cool.
one
Okay.
of their one of their new members is Jesse Zaretti. He's like a big composer. He's worked for Marvel and stuff. Yeah,
Weird. Oh,
yeah, I know, right?
interesting.
And but I was listening to a podcast with Aile Levy, who's like one of the founding members, and Jesse. They were talking about compositions, including some of the new songs and some of their ideas. One of them was Aile has always had this idea because he comes from a classical background of trying to dynamically build up a part or change dynamics from one part to the next by either adding or taking away like different layers. So like maybe for a chorus, it's quad tracked rhythm guitars with some dual track leads and stuff and all, maybe it's like six, seven, eight layers of tracks. And then when you
Mm,
go to the verse part next, you cut it back down to, four or five
mm.
tracks, things like that. Just trying to add size to the parts that are supposed to be emphasized and then cutting it back for the parts that are supposed to, you know, be
Yeah.
less dynamic. And it's something I've been trying to experiment a little bit with, but yeah, all this kind of reminded me of that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's interesting. Because I mean, I guess it's something I've thought about, but not that hard.
Yeah,
So it's yeah, it's interesting that he was like diving that deep into like the methodology behind that.
yeah. Like I think even just something as simple as going from like maybe this is a tip for any songwriters out there, I don't know. Like for your like maybe your verse parts or whatever and building up, just dual track. Then when you get to the big chorus, it's supposed to be all, sound huge and massive. Quad track just that part. Just something like that, you
Yeah,
know?
something I've never thought about.
Yeah. It I've also tried it and it just sounds weird. Like Like it's almost too abrupt of a change in dynamics. And it's like,
I feel I feel like you've got to be like a ace producer to make that transition smooth.
it's a little
So
weird.
I couldn't even imagine how I would do that. Like if I was mixing it. Granted, I'm not a producer at
Yeah,
all, but
right.
I still don't even know how that would work.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Just kind of waxing poetic on recording techniques that I'm not good at. Uh,
The most I ever produce is just demos for myself and stuff. So I've thought about like getting super into it, and maybe one day I will, but I don't know. It's not a priority for me, I
yeah,
guess. I mean, the Dylan, the bassist vocalist of Suffering Hour, he produces all of our shit. So if I ever need something produced, I could just
sure.
walk into his house and be like, "Hey, asshole, get to work."
That, yeah. It always helps to have somebody that is way better at the thing that you can reference. Um, like I'm trying to be a little ambitious and do all these things. I guess a hobbyist engineer to try to supplement being a songwriter and all these different avenues I'm trying to expand on. Um, that being said, I've got several people that are way better than I will ever be at recording, and they know they can listen to something and know exact frequencies to boost or cut, and
Yeah,
I'm still not even quite close to that. I gotta kind of, I don't know, just listen and kind of hunt for stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Uh,
I mean, one of the best things you can do is just keep those people around.
sure.
Like, if there's one thing I've learned from at least like my career, it's like know who the good people are, whether just like good, like friendly, easy to get along with people, or like the people who are way better than you, and just hold them as close as you can.
Oh yeah.
Like, don't let go.
Well, kind of reeling it back a little bit, focusing on you and your background. Um, who would you say or what got you started playing like way back when?
Um, I mean, like the first bands I got into when I was like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 was like what, like the Doors and the Beatles and Queen.
Okay.
And I think Brian May, because like I love the Beatles, but Brian May was like hearing his guitar tone. I was like, how do I make a guitar sound like that? And
Right.
then that was when I started taking lessons. So I was like, I just want to make a guitar sound like the way Brian May makes guitar sound. And I still don't know.
Yeah.
I've looked up the gear and everything, and I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Why does this sound like this when I did the same thing and it sounds like ass? So sometimes you just gotta know when to give up. But yeah, that was basically how I started. Is I just was started on classic rock and stuff, and then when I was 11 or 12 or something, when I was in middle school, I wanted to be like a luthier. Like that was like my whole thing. When I was a kid, is I wanted to build guitars. So I was on guitar websites constantly. I was on the Ibanez site looking at all their models. I was on the Fender site looking at all their 3 models that I love, but there's only 3.
Hmm.
I went to the BC Rich site and they had a little tab for the Stealth on there. And I was like, that's cool. That's one of the cooler guitars I've seen. And then when on the thing there is a link to the music video for The Philosopher by Death,
Okay.
and then it was over.
Yeah.
And then from there, I got into metal really weird, man. Yeah, like the first metal album I ever got was Individual Thought Patterns, and then I got Traced in Air by Cynic. And what
Okay.
else? It was like Covenant by Morbid Angel, Morbid Tales by Celtic Frost. Like in high school, I had to like loop back to like Judas Priest, Metallica, like everyone, because I was just listening to all this like black metal and death metal and
Right.
stuff. And those people were like, "What's your favorite Judas Priest album?" And I was like, I don't know what album is Painkiller on, and they're like Painkiller. And I'm like, oh.
I yeah, don't feel bad. I think I went through almost a pretty similar progression. Like I think I found like Cannibal Corpse and like the first Bodum record and Emperor and all that stuff. And then for like a year or two was kind of into just whatever was popular, relevant at that time, which
Yeah.
for me was like Red Chord and Despised Icon
Oh,
were
okay. Yeah,
were
like the kind of when like deathcore was kind of started
yeah,
materialized from like mathcore type stuff.
pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
I love Red Chord. Red Chord fucking rules. I think they're working on a new album right.
I think I saw that and that rules. I
I'm excited.
yeah. I was for years I've been hoping for Gunface to put out another Stomacher record. Did you listen to that first one by chance?
I think so. I'm trying to
It
remember.
it was forever ago. Yeah,
Yeah, if I did, it was a long time ago.
yeah,
I
but
just want Bird by the Sun to come back, dude. Bird by the Sun fucking ruled.
yeah. Um, what shooting on to the next one. Um,
Thank you for keeping me in check. I need it so bad.
well, I gotta kind of do it to myself too because it's so easy just to rabbit trail and nerd out about this and that,
Yeah.
but for me,
Me
um,
too, but I'm right there with you.
what goals do you have for yourself, both like personally as a musician and then also for the context of the band or bands in this case?
Hmm. I don't know. We're kind of in a weird stasis right now because so last year um our drummer Jay was diagnosed with lymphoma, and so he spent 6 months getting through chemo. He's
Hmm.
he's pretty much in full remission. Cancer seems like it's a thing of the
Awesome.
past. We're going to be fine.
Good.
But it's going to still be a long time before he recovers from the chemo.
Oh
And
man.
yeah, it'll probably until summer before he's like fully back because he got this side effect from the chemo called neuropathy, which
Okay.
basically you lose feeling like in your limbs. So as it
Mm,
stands right now, he doesn't have any feeling in his hands and feet. So like drumming feels very strange for him.
I bet. Damn.
But he's killing it though. He's doing great. It's just yeah, we're kind of in a weird spot. Like we don't really have any goals for anything right now because our number one priority is just making sure that he's better. I mean, I've been playing in bands with him since I was 12 years old. The three of us have been playing together for what, like 13 years. Like we're kind of at a point where, the band comes second to just the three of us being boys.
Yeah.
So I haven't really been thinking about suffering hour goals, I guess. I haven't really thinking much about the band at all. I've just been kind of trying to spend time with Jay when I can and just us three trying to hang out and just get through this as easy as we can. And we'll focus on the band when the time comes, but time's not here, so we're just gonna hang out.
Hell
I've
yeah.
been working on a lot of side project stuff. I mean, I've been working on a project that I think I brought up earlier, that project that basically was spawned from that Electro Harmonix organ pedal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like just drop tuned the shit out of a 12-string guitar and just ran it through that, and it sounds fucking stupid. It sounds so awesome. And so that basically spawned a whole project. Um, I don't I don't want to say the name because I don't know if it's the name of it yet. So
Okay.
I don't want to say it's called this, and then like 3 months from now, it's called this now. So but yeah, I would say hopefully sometime this year, I want to try and maybe play a show or two just around town. I don't know what else I got going on. I did this recording project with you ever heard of the band Sleepwalker from Japan?
I was thinking of a different band. No, I haven't heard of them.
Really, really weird experimental mathy kind of black metal. They're a little less black metal-y now. Just weird experimental stuff. I did a recording project, kind of like a kind of black metal goth rock kind of recording project with him called Hull of Light. That should be coming out pretty soon. It's
Okay.
me and a few other folks. I I'll be honest, I've really only communicated with him regarding it, so I forget who else is in it. Sorry, bandmates, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. He just sort of sent me the songs most of the way complete, and I just recorded like kind of some vibey guitar stuff over it.
Hmm.
So that'll probably be coming out pretty soon. I've got a couple other things in the works too. Nothing that's really materialized yet. I guess my goal for this year is to just make music, regardless of Suffering Hour being out of commission and
Yeah.
stuff. Dylan, our front guy, bassist, he has another band called Aberration, and they just put out a split on Sentient Ruin with Diabolic Oath from Oregon. I believe they're from Oregon. If not, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to look it up because my phone is being used as a camera. So, but yeah, Aberration is awesome. It's basically just wall of shit music. Like it's just endless blasting and just the
Yeah.
guitars. Like Dill plays this like 80s 8 string bass for it, and he just runs a million different pedals. Like the bass, it just it sounds like a toilet. Like that band just sounds like a toilet, and
Well, that
it's
rules.
awesome. Um, I remember because I've heard the album that they have a full length coming out this year. It's incredible. I've heard it. We sent it to, or yeah, Dill sent it to our buddy Zach in this band Hissing from Seattle, and Hissing is one of the most hellish bands on earth. And Dill sent it to him and was like, "Let me know what you think." And a few days later, he was like, "All right, I finished it." He was like, "This is such a hellish record. It took me 3 days to listen to it." So yeah, Aberration is yeah Sentient Ruin this year. They're going to be dropping a full length, and it's going to be incredible. It's going to be the dumbest thing anyone's ever heard in their life. I'm
I
ecstatic.
I feel like the quote, "It's such a hellish record. It took me 3 days to listen to it." I feel like that should be a quote, like a review printed on the album.
Yeah, like it'll have like the what is it, metal injection review or
Yeah,
whatever, and then blah 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 review, and then just just Zach. It took me 3 days to listen.
that rules.
Yeah, so that's what
That's
he's been working on, and he's a producer too. So he has projects he's always working on that he's producing.
hell
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I think our goal for right now is to just sort of try and stay as musically active as we can while we're kind of in this unfortunate situation, but just try
Sure.
and make the most light of it as we can. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Definitely keep me posted. I'd love to share it and plaster it all over the page
Oh
whenever it
yeah,
comes out.
yeah. I'll be whenever anything comes out
Sure.
regarding any of the three of us, I spam the shit out of it. So
Hell yeah.
promotion's expensive. Posting on Facebook is free.
Exactly. Uh, on a on kind of a fun note, is there any cool like gear that you're eyeing, anything that you're wanting to kind of add to the collection there or
Always,
yeah.
always. Um, I just got this recently, and I'm really excited about it. I won it in a raffle at work.
Oh hell yeah.
It's an Ernie Ball. It's an expression tremolo pedal.
Okay.
So when it's all the way up, it's off, and then you could like pick. It has like harmonic tremolo, different forms of tremolo. Like you can pick the wave. It even
Hmm.
has built-in reverb, and then here it has a depth and rate knob, and you can click them in on and off, and that's what the pedal changes, whichever ones you have on. So you
That's
can
pretty
either set
sick.
it permanently, or you can like set it so you can just have the rate on, and then as you move the pedal up and down, the rate goes up and down. I was planning on buying one, but then I won it in the raffle, so that's cool. I don't know what else. I'm always looking at guitars and shit because I'm an idiot, even though I have like 20 of them. Uh, I don't know. Uh, I'd like a Gretsch hollow body someday. I guess it's probably the one big thing I've been considering just buying.
Hell yeah.
Because I love Gretsch. I have a Gretsch. It's a solid body and it's fantastic, but I want a big, nasty hollow body for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, probably a drum stuff too, because I finally, like just a month ago, like got a practice space, was able to get
mhm.
my kit set up. So I'm going to start drumming a lot again. I want to try. I used to be pretty good at it, and then I just stopped due to circumstances. And I want to
Mm.
get back on the wagon and start drumming again.
Hell yeah. Uh, I'm right there with you, by the way, on lusting after a hollow body guitar.
Yeah, I had one years ago, and I sold it because there was this kid I knew who played rockabilly. And he was like, "I want it so bad." And I was like, "Okay." And I was like, "Yeah, he'll probably use it more than me." And then I walked into a guitar store 3 months later, and it was sitting on the wall. And I'm like, "For fuck's sake,
Oh,
like, what the hell?"
that's so lame.
Yeah, well, I was actually kind of pissed. I was like, "You've been begging me to buy this for so long." Oh well, it
Yeah.
is what it is.
Shaded whoever pulled that fast one. You know what you did.
Shade. May you end up in the shadow realm one day. Yeah, I guess basically, if you said, I mean, I basically have every pedal I'd ever need.
Yeah.
I like I said, like the tripod is probably like 5 inches tall. Most of the height is just the toolbox that all my pedals are in.
Fuck yeah.
I have probably like it's probably a 3-digit number.
Nice.
It's not good. It's not good, but
Well,
yeah,
huh? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I forgot what I was gonna say, so I gave up and drank water.
Oh, word.
Go for it.
Default tactic water bottle. Uh uh almost lost my train of thought. Uh going into all right, so that was kind of you know, what would I want for fun? Going more into the realm of practicality. Uh Functionally speaking, I know you said you're getting the Boss, was it the MS8? Is that what that's called, or FS8 or something? I can't remember what it's. I know what I can picture it. I just can't remember the name.
It's
ES8.
boss. ES8. Yep. ES8.
Okay. Um, yeah, so uh that kind of answers this main question, like what has worked for you and what are you searching for gear wise and stuff like that, like a problem solver. Is there anything else you can think of? Like I know how you're kind of running, the Mimic, doing the quad track, sort of, or faux quad track stereo rig. Is maybe like something to kind of make that easier, or go like a rack system or anything like
Um,
that?
I mean, the ES8 pretty much solves all of my problems I had with that. Like the ES8 is pretty much going to fix all the issues I was having. I mean, most of my problem because I was able to route all my weird tracking shit fine live, but the problem was that my board was loud as hell because it
Yeah.
didn't have a switcher. So like all of my pedals were on all the time. We played a festival last year in Portugal, and after the set, it was like a festival, so there was like a whole sound crew and everything. And after the set, one of the guys waves me over. Yeah, and he shows me a picture on his phone of this. And he was like, "You ever heard of this?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I have." And he was like, "Get one. Your pedal board is so noisy." And I was like, "Oh, oh, okay, okay, I will, I will."
You need to do this.
Yeah, he's like, "Make my life easier. Buy this product." I don't know what else. I got a head rush a few months back.
Hell yeah.
basically just for like just recording demos and stuff. It's been great for that. It has like a built-in like amp clone thing, so I've been
Hmm.
just cloning all my amps into it. I don't know if I'll ever use it live. I think I'd only use it live if like I was going into a situation where I didn't know what amps were going to be there, and I just wanted to have like amp sims on hand to just run the effects loops of whatever I was running.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mostly bought it just for like tracking demos and stuff, and it works great for it. It sounds really nice, and I mean, there's even some stuff I've recorded like recently just for like final takes that I did on the head rush, and it sounds fantastic.
Killer. I'm uh I'm no stranger to digital gear. I've got a Kemper rack behind me. Um, but I've also got a ginormous pedal board of all kinds of stuff. So it's all awesome.
Yeah, I wanted a Kemper, I just couldn't afford one. I couldn't afford a head rush. I got the head rush core. It's like the most recent model.
Okay, yeah.
I think like the most recent one because there's like the Prime, which is like the super high end nice one. I think the
Oh
core is
yeah.
basically just that but scaled down a little bit.
Okay. The I think I've looked at that one a little bit too. I've looked at a few different ones to like sell the Kemper and even get like the new like Kemper player, the little small one.
Yeah, I
Um,
saw that. That's new and that's
yeah.
not very expensive.
No. Thought about maybe doing that and then getting another like affordable tube head so I can kind of have best of both again. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I haven't pulled the trigger yet.
it's so hard with how good technology is these days. I've like juggled the battle all the time. Like, do I just ditch everything and get a full digital rig? Because especially on a stage, no one would be able to tell the difference.
No.
But I like these dumb little toys too much. I have a whole box for them, and I like to plug them in and make and get cat hair all over them. See,
Yeah. I know I know at least the one thing I don't think I could do without is having like a real cab on stage with me. That's the
yep,
one thing I won't
he's
budge
there.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. Like, so I was thinking about it, and I was like, but I because I could imagine like you step away from your monitor and then your guitar is just gone.
Yeah.
Like I need to have it behind me. I don't know how people don't do that. I mean, I guess if they have in ears, that's a different situation. But we're not smart
Yeah.
enough for this. We'll probably never use in ears.
Dude, I've used them before for a kind of a session thing I was doing. Really didn't like it. I mean
Yeah,
I mean it functionally it was exactly what it was supposed to be, but it just took so much of the fun out of it for me. I felt so disconnected. I wound up
yeah,
popping one ear out, keeping and just keeping the other one in, and it kind of was like a medium, I guess. But I don't know. It's
that'd
just
be weird.
it's lame. I don't like it.
You can see it being weird. I mean, I guess it's like you're just hearing like a mix in your head. It doesn't feel
Yeah,
like what's going on in the room.
it's too sterile. I'll tell you what it feels like. Um, it feels like imagine you went to like a really fun like water park, like a big pool and everything and slides, and you're in the pool, but you're like in a glass case to where you're not actually getting wet and you're not actually having fun. You're just there. That's what it felt like to me.
It's like you're in a glass box floating down the lazy river. Like
Yeah.
I'm at the water park and it's a great time, but I'm very dry and it's
Yeah.
hot.
It's technically there without the fun. Yeah. That's that's the best analogy I can come up with. Um yeah. Man, that went off the rails quick. I don't even it's all good. Well,
uh, not helping. It's fine.
yeah. Um all that said, I've only got I got one more, topic slash question to go over. And
Okay.
it's how I always close these out. I always like to ask people their top four death metal bands and or albums, just whatever's easier.
Top 10 death
Four,
metal band albums. Okay.
four,
Four.
yeah. Your Mount Rushmore, if you would.
Yeah. Uh, I'm so bad at these. Um, I couldn't tell you the order they're in, but I could probably tell you four of my favorite death metal albums.
Yeah, that works.
Um, Cryptopsy None So Vile. That's
Hell yeah.
easy fucking pull. That's just riff city.
Yeah,
I listen to that album all. I don't listen to a ton of death metal anymore, but I listen to that album constantly because it's
sure.
so good. That's probably one. Spell of Retribution by the Chasm. That's
Okay.
that's probably my favorite death metal record. The Chasm's my favorite death metal band. They're
I,
just they're just an amazing fucking band. Like they just took everything dope about like Death and Morbid Angel, but then everything dope about Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, and like also like 70s prog. But they're not a proggy band, is the thing. They're just super, they just took all those elements and they're like, how do we make the riffiest, catchiest death metal ever? Yeah, I'm a diehard Chasm fan. I fucking love the Chasm, so I have to mention. Um, Blood Drawn by Molested, that's definitely a favorite. Um, for those not in the know, they're this band from the 90s and they're just really weird, fucked up. Like people call them like the predecessor to Portal, but like
okay.
that album came out in like 95. I mean, it's not quite Portal level messed up. I mean, death metal was so new then, I don't even know
Sure.
how they're that quick. but yeah, it's a really just weird. And like the way I guess the members described it later is like we just didn't know how to play our instruments and so we just wanted to make death metal. And the main guy in that band actually ended up later on forming that band Borknagar, that black metal band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Love
but
that band.
before Borknagar, there was Molested. I don't know Borknagar's music super well, but I'm a diehard Molested fan. Like
Yeah.
that band, Blood Drum, and they the EP. Oh, what's the EP called? Is it Following the Growls EP? Or is that the demo? Just Molested's awesome.
Yeah.
If you like weird death metal, if you what's that? There's like another death metal album from that era that's like kind of similar. I could see that covered, what like Ingested or something. They're like a Scandinavian band.
Hmm.
They're kind of similar to them. Um, yeah, they're great. I don't know. I think other ones. You know what? Across Deaths by Malfusion, number four.
What was the band name?
Malfusion.
Okay. The the
Mouth. I'm sorry.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just saying the connection made like a weird kind of warbly thing, so I didn't catch it at first. But yeah, anyway,
Oh,
go ahead.
yeah. I don't know. Everyone slept on that record when it came out, and I think it's one of the best pieces of metal music like ever made. It's incredible. It's like horrifying. It's violent. It's everything a death metal album should be. It's cryptic. It's got like thrashy parts. I don't know. Malfusion is like when like people might think I'm biased because we like toured Europe with Malfusion. We did a split with Malfusion. But let me tell you, I was at work when I found out that we got offered to tour with Malfusion, and I had to go home because I was like hyperventilating. So I am such a huge Malfusion fan. I love that band. I love those dudes, and I miss them to death. But yeah, Across Death by Malfusion is probably number four.
Heck
So
yeah.
so yeah, Cryptopsy, None So Vile, Has a Spell, Retribution, Lusted Blood Drawn, Malfusion, Across Death. That's a list
Hell
I can
yeah.
get behind. That's a list I feel good about that. There's probably some like honorary mentions. Like I should probably mention Individual Thought Patterns by Death because I love that album. It's the album that got me to death metal. And Promulgation, The Fall by Dead Congregation because Dead Congregation just fucking riffs and they're
Yeah.
just the best at what they do.
Fuck yeah. Well, hell yeah, dude. Thank you so much. Killer list, by the way, and a couple of those I actually need to check out. Um, but before we go, I know we kind of talked about it a little bit. I guess you don't really have any. I normally let got guests plug whatever they want here.
Yeah, like plug
Um,
their upcoming album or whatever. Yeah,
yeah,
we got nothing.
but
um,
are there some social media pages to kind of follow and get and keep an eye on things or?
yeah, I mean, we're on Suffering Hours on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on. I think that's it. We're out there. Yeah, I mean that's probably the best place to keep tabs on what's going on. I'm sure that whenever any of us have other projects happening, that we'll be posting it on there as well. Since got to keep that what do you call it, social media interaction or whatever up,
Oh
whatever
yeah.
they call it. Like, got to get the likes. You gotta get the likes on the internet, or else you'll die.
You gotta feed that algorithm.
Yeah, yeah, you got
Yeah.
to feed the algorithm. So, yeah, I mean, while there probably won't be much Suffering Hour news this year, I'm sure there will be plenty of news regarding our other bands and projects that the three of us are all working on our own time, and that they'll be posted there. So, yeah, Suffering Hour on Facebook. I forget what the ad is on Instagram. I think it's just like suffering_hour, I think, on Instagram.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's where you'll see any updates on stuff like that. Otherwise, yeah, follow Dylan's other band, Aberration. Yeah, that'll be coming out, I think, in the spring on Sentient Ruin. And yeah, yeah, it's about all I have to plug as of right now.
Hell yeah. Well, Josh, I want to thank you for coming on. This has been a
Thanks for having me.
blast. Oh, absolutely. This has been a blast. Can't wait to hear what you got in the pipeline. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Be sure to follow all applicable social media outlets and stay tuned because it's going to be awesome whatever comes next. So
Yeah, we'll see. Only time will tell.
sure. But thanks everybody.
All
We'll see
right,
you.
cool. Bye, everyone.